Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and we have an update to the 20th movie news from yesterday. So we have an official summary as well as some character descriptions. So let's just pick up where we left off with Soji. Partner Pokemon Lucario, a young male trainer aiming to become a Pokemon professor. His catchphrase is, "Be advised that blank." Now I feel like this is going to be good for like comedic purposes, especially with a young trainer like Ash, who is inexperienced. So it's like, oh, be advised it's not going to work. Then Ash is going to be like, nah, I'm going to get the Pokemon anyways, and comedic relief ensues. Makoto, that's the girl from the trailer. She has a Piplup, energetic and masculine girl trainer. She appears to enjoy adventures, but the truth is, and it seems like we have to wait to discover the truth. After that, we have Bonji. This was already kind of elaborated on. He is a huge Ho-Oh fanatic, has been chasing Ho-Oh for a long time, and is the author of My Life is Ho-Oh. And then we have Cross. He has an Incineroar, and he believes strength is everything, and then aims to become the ultimate trainer. Sounds a bit like every rival, or at least most of the rivals from the games. Sounds pretty good, but then there was an update to the official summary. To all Pokemon fans, this is a story of the duo's meeting and promise. This is the creation of the 20th anniversary movie, Pocket Monsters, or Pokemon for short. Mysterious life forms that hide many secrets. There's still many things we don't know about their ecology. Even today, Pokemon trainers continue their adventures and aim to encountering Pokemon never before seen. That the Pokemon Company is really good about doing this. You know, there's 150 or more to see. To be a Pokemon Master is my destiny. Or who knows what Pokemon are out there. You know, it's always kind of like that open-ended, more Pokemon to be discovered or more Pokemon have recently been discovered kind of thing. And I guess they can make that work with the Marshadow, even going back to the original series kind of callback. So Ash, a boy living in Pallet Town, greeted the morning of his 10th birthday, day he could become qualified to become a Pokemon trainer. So it's pretty much the first Pokemon episode of Pikachu not liking Ash, and then their bond grows as they get into some shenanigans with some Spearow. But now there's a little bit of a change. A rainbow wing falls down to Ash, and then he holds one of it and says, let's go meet it together one day. So maybe that was supposed to be a bit more of an emotional moment. Like that's their bond, is that they see Ho-Oh fly over and it's like, yeah, that's cool, everything's gonna be okay, and it's like, let's go meet it together. And thus Pikachu and Ash, who set off on his journey to become the world's greatest Pokemon Master, end up meeting the trainers Makoto and Soji on their way before getting told a legend concerning Ho-Oh. Now, I don't know if this confirms that Brock and Misty are gone and they're retelling the story entirely. That's kind of like one of the awkward things. Are they just going to like show Ash quickly becoming a Pokemon trainer in the Kanto region, catching all of his Pokemon, and then engaging in a new story from there? Or is it now that the first generation of Pokemon, or like the first season, is supposed to be about the quest of finding Ho-Oh? Or does he do all these things that's like, by the way, you're interested in Ho-Oh, are you? Maybe he's like, maybe we get caught up to present day Ash and he's holding one of the wings. He's like, I won't forget my promise. But when you look at the trailer, you can see that it's Ash's old school clothing, so maybe it is just going to be one of the earlier generation adventures with Ho-Oh written in. And then they do an interesting thing with Marshadow as well, because it hides in people's shadows, and because of that, it's rarely seen, and it has never been seen up in this point according to Pokemon lore. So those who, guided by the Rainbow Wing, meet with Ho-Oh shall become heroes of the Rainbow. Ash and others end up getting guided by Marshadow, a mysterious Pokemon that had been lurking in Ash's shadow without anyone realizing it. So see guys, that's why Ash has been the protagonist all these years, because he had a mythical Pokemon hanging out in his shadow, because I guess Marshadow just likes his strength and then can actually use that to benefit Marshadow, or something like that. They make their way to Mount Tensei where Ho-Oh lives. In order for them to fulfill the promise they swore on the day they departed, the two of them now begin an adventure that will last until they become true partners. So, I don't know, like, if they're actually going to be stopped by Cross on the way to the Ho-Oh thing, does that mean, like, Cross is the villain? But that doesn't make sense. It feels like if we're dealing with Ho-Oh, there's going to be some kind of evil gang that wants to get Ho-Oh's power, maybe get a rainbow wing for themselves, and force themselves to become a hero of the rainbow, and then use whatever power or energy or gift that gives them. But I would find it really interesting if, like, it goes really light on the antagonist. So it makes me wonder, like, where the villain is going to be, because in the original season of Pokemon, for the most part, it was just Team Rocket was comedic relief while being antagonists, but not, like, truly evil villains and stuff. So are they going to actually be the ones that are like, hey, let's do this crazy plan to get Ho-Oh, and then one of their crazy schemes ends up working out? Because, really, there wasn't too much, like, evil antagonism. Even Giovanni, like, he didn't show up until later on in the season, and then the Mewtwo thing kind of fell apart because Mewtwo was too powerful for even Giovanni. So I would say that that's kind of what I'm looking at. Like, does Cross just become, like, crazy with power? Like, no, I'm going to defeat Ash and then steal his Rainbow Wing and then force myself to become Heroes of the Rainbow because he overhears Ash talking with Bonji or something like that. The story, I still have no idea. Now, we are a couple months off. It's like 3 months until the movie is released. So we're going to get more information, hopefully, but I am still really confused. I have, like, no idea what is going on within the story. And it seems like the Pokemon Company did a good job just kind of building it up to where, like, people are going to wonder what is happening right now, because we know the story already, but they're rewriting it, so who knows what direction they're going to take it. So far, the movie looks beautiful, and I like the idea. I just want to have a little bit more of an understanding as to what's going on. And I don't know what it means for the Marshadow. Like, it feels like they just kind of threw Marshadow in, so hopefully it ends up getting some significance, or else just like, hey, we got our mythical Pokemon for the movie, bye guys. So that's something. Also, I do want to take a quick look at Marshadow. A lot of people in my last video about the news update said, hey, can we get a Marshadow guide now? Well, since Marshadow is not legally available, I'm not really going to go too much into a guide until the event is announced or actually released. But we can do a little bit of a pre-look by looking at the stats and getting an understanding of what Marshadow wants to do. So it is a Ghost Fighting typing. We got a fun little typing right there. Ghost and Fighting actually gives you perfect coverage against every Pokemon in the game. That if you go to a type coverage checker on Pokemon DB, you put in Fighting and Ghost, 0 no effect, 0 not very effective. So our stab is going to neutrally connect with every Pokemon in the game. That is already a crazy typing right there. And our weaknesses are fairly balanced. That we have 4 weaknesses, so maybe a little on the high end, but 3-4 is going to be average for a dual type Pokemon. And it's Flying, Ghost, Psychic, and Fairy. So Fairy is going to be the most common. Psychic, not the biggest issue. Flying, not the biggest issue. Ghost, sometimes you'll see it. But also, we're a 125 base speed Pokemon. So we have a really high amount of speed as well, that we get to outspeed Greninja. We get to outspeed all kinds of other Pokemon, and then a 125 attack. So very respectable sweeping. And then we have 90 hit points, 80 defense, and 90 special defense. So slightly less tanky than the Silvally, while being a 125 sweeper. This Pokemon is going to be an absolute monster. And it can hit everything with double immunities, and it's like, wow, this is pretty ridiculous. So, not too crazy on the resistances, but then it gets its coverage. And no move tutors here, but all the elemental punches. Drain Punch. And then the new move, Spectral Thief. Okay, Spectral Thief is a dumb, broken move, guys. That, let's go and click on the Spectral Thief. So it's already a 90 base power move. A 90 base power physical ghost move is pretty solid to begin with. Here we go. Causes the user to steal the target's stat boosts and then do damage. So it's Psych Up mixed with an offensive move, except you steal the boost and then do the damage. So it's not like you hit them and then you sap it. Like, that would be so much more balanced. Like, oh, you hit them and then that causes you to drain their energy, or at least gain their energy through Psych Up. No, you do it first and then you body them. So if they have Swords Dance, well, you're faster than them. So now you're, it's like, okay, it's like playing Ditto. Except you actually have your own moveset. That, okay, you come in, you copy other stats, and then you do some kind of damaging things or whatever. But at least with your dual stab, a fighting type move will be walled out by a ghost type if it is scarfed, and ghost will be walled out by normal. So it's not completely unstoppable under that scarf, but 125 base speed is still going to be enough to where scarf probably doesn't even matter, and then you're tanky enough to switch in on some kind of pretty powerful hit as well. So Marshadow is going to be really crazy to watch. If you see a Marshadow on the opponent's team, it's like, well, I don't get the setup against them, because even a tanky Pokemon, we have a Pokemon coming in like Toxapex, or something that's using Stockpile, or something that's using Minimize. If Spectral Thief makes connection on that, well, now it gains those stat boosts. It's not just an offensive thing, it can also be defensive, so that means we'll have a 90, 80, 90 Pokemon with plus something in defense, or if there's Bulk Up, if there's Curse, if there's Amnesia. Marshadow is going to have that, and that is very scary to think about. And after reading this some more, it's actually stealing. It steals those stats while bypassing Substitute. So it's not even like a Psych Up. It drains the stat boosting entirely. However, if it's used to boost Marshadow to +6 in a stat, the target will retain any excess boost. So say Marshadow's at +3 and I'm at +4, don't worry, he'll only put me at +1 while being at +6. That is so broken! On a 120, no, this thing's like gonna be permabanned forever. I don't know, that is way too broken. I can't even come up with anything for that. So the close combat, I guess there's not really going to be too much that, so you will be losing defenses if you gain defenses, but still a very high amount of damage, or you can just run the jump kick instead. I guess it stops mattering when you hit like +1 or +2 attack anyways, and then we can just like go for elemental punches like Ice Punch, Drain Punch, Spectral Thief, and then either go for like jump kick close combat or some kind of other coverage move, and that should be more than enough on the Marshadow. We also do get access to the Bulk Up or the Calm Mind for special defense. I don't really think that that's going to be the biggest thing that needs to happen, unless you just go Calm Mind, Bulk Up. That way you can get special defenses, Drain Punch, and then Spectral Thief. You could do something weird like that for like sustain while being even tankier than people would expect. But Bulk Up might be all you need. That you go, like a physical attacker takes out one of your Pokemon, you bring in Marshadow, you use Bulk Up, it doesn't die because it's tanky, it now outspeeds, it +1 Drain Punches, gets all of its health back, and then one-shots and steals any opponent's stat boost. You have Will-O-Wisp if you just want to be annoying as well. That's kind of it. Because it is a legendary Pokemon, no breeding, because it's Pokemon Sun and Moon, no tutors, but it still has a lot of crazy things it can do. You can run the Poison Jab for Fairy Killing if it needs to, so that's another coverage option if you want to run it. I feel that setup Marshadow, you know, you just go +1 on the Bulk Up, maybe +2, and then one-shot everything on Drain Punch, so you don't need close combat. And as for item, I feel that setup's better, so Scarf would be only if you want to steal Pokemon stat boosts and nothing else, and then kind of turn it around with some craziness. And then thinking about my Scarf from earlier, maybe not the best idea, because I didn't really consider that you'd be locked into Spectral Thief as you're doing it. Life Orb, not good to take damage for yourself, but that's something that could work. Lumberry, because maybe you don't want to get burned. Now, Marshadow does have an exclusive Z move if you want to run that as the item option. It could work to just get a KO on a Pokemon that you would not otherwise KO, because it gives more than double the power of your Spectral Thief, so it turns into like an effective, super effective hit, or just a lot of damage boosting overall that can neutrally one-shot a lot of Pokemon, but it doesn't have the ability, it doesn't steal the stat boost before attacking, it just does damage, it has no additional effect. So if you're going to be using Spectral Thief against a Pokemon with Swords Dance, then that's why, then it just kind of does effectively the same damage, now you have the permanent Swords Dance instead. So I don't know if 7-Star Strike is going to be one of the best moves on Marshadow, but you probably will see it from time to time, just as a quick KO as a 125 base speed Pokemon to do insane amounts of damage. At the same time, you could do like a Fighting MZ and then get a lot of damage on your boosted close combat, and that doesn't drop your defenses. Still kind of like the idea of Scarf under those like extreme circumstances that if they're Scarfed, you at least get to guarantee outspeeds against them, or if they're going to be using something like Dragon Dance, you can steal those stats and then not have to worry about as much. Same for speed boost Pokemon. So while sounding kind of like a weird idea, I think it can have some levels of play. Just like keep Marshadow untouchable and then insane amounts of damage on top of that. So that's kind of it for like item consideration. The items I don't think really snowball Marshadow too much unless like it's Citrus Berry and then it gets tankier while also bulking up and then getting a Drain Punch, then gaining like 75% of its health in one turn or something ridiculous like that. It seems like it's just going to be really hard to pick away at for the Marshadow. And that's kind of it. So the coverage options are maybe going to be like the biggest thing about it. That, okay, what am I going wrong on my Marshadow? Maybe you'll have the wrong moveset at the wrong time and get accidentally walled out. But it's a pretty ridiculous Pokemon. And it also gets the role play. So it gets the steal abilities if it does not want the... Oh, it has Technician. Wow, I didn't even care for the ability in the first place. So Technician, that boosts Shadow Sneak. So now Stab, Shadow Sneak on the Technician is going to be pretty nuts. Rolling Kick. That's a move you don't really see too often. Actually, as Rolling Kick, does that turn out to be like the best damage option? 30% chance to cause target to flinch, and then becomes 90 base power off of that. Unfortunately, does not have the best accuracy overall. Force Palm, that's actually a pretty solid move. You don't see Force Palm too often, but 30% of paralyzing the target, so that's going to get the Technician boost as well. Yeah, maybe if you don't really care for, like because of Technician, you know, Drain Punch is going to be more power, Ice Punch is going to be more power, Spectral Thief is already pretty high. Like, what they could have done is made Spectral Thief a 60 base power. That way, if you do have your ability taken away, you at least lose some power on the Spectral Thief. Shadow Punch effectively becomes like the bypasses evasion kind of move. So yeah, Marshadow looks to be a pretty silly Pokemon. I'm scared for when it actually becomes released. That's really good stats on really good moves on one of the strongest Pokemon moves in the game. And those are my thoughts on Marshadow. We'll see what happens when people start using it, and then I'll make a moveset, and then we'll actually be able to live in this fearful world of Marshadow. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.